Hi everyone.
Oh, something fell over.
That's how to start a Facebook Live with complete sound effects and impression. Anyway, that was supposed to be the picture that was actually reducing the light coming in from the window, but the wind decided to catch it. So welcome everyone to my Facebook Live. And we are going to be doing Marvellous mayonnaise today. And it is my daughter-in-law's favorite thing in the world, probably, or pretty close. Mind you, I think her husband's pretty cool when it comes to that. And so we are actually going to make her recipe, well, the recipe that I invented for her, Laura's mayonnaise, and it is a marvelous recipe. Hi, Caroline. Nice to see you, and I'm glad you're here too, because Caroline is Laura's mom. So here we go today. I'm going to be talking about all of my favorite little tips to actually help you be successful with mayonnaise. And mayonnaise can be a challenge because every once in a while, like I said in my post earlier, you can get a mayonnaise that just flops. It fails. And I actually did one the other day, and you saw it in the picture this morning on Facebook, and I actually failed. I invented in my head the recipe thinking that I knew it off by heart, and I did 1 egg yolk instead of 2. So when I corrected it, as I'll show you later, then it actually sorted itself out, and I ended up with beautifully thick emulsified mayonnaise, which was great. So exciting to be able to get perfect mayonnaise. So today I'm going to start with some avocado oil. This is the one that I like to use. It's organic. It has been lightly, what does it say? It says naturally refined. I'm not quite sure what that means, but it isn't as strong smelling or as green as a properly cold pressed avocado oil. And it's the one that I tend to use. So I'm going to do the scales first, 750 grams. So we're going to pour this oil out. You can use a really light olive oil. And good to see everybody that's coming on. Thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you to all of those who are going to be joining when this Facebook Live is actually on replay. And also for those who will watch it on Zoom. So here we are, just merrily I'm chatting away while I'm pouring out the avocado oil for you. I choose avocado oil because it's a really nourishing oil. And I don't really like using sunflower oil. It's usually been very refined, and so I find it really doesn't agree with me very much. And this tastes beautiful. It's a lovely light oil. You can see there's a bit of that beautiful color in there. Oh, I better have a look at the weight. We're at 450 and I'm aiming for 750. Laura, who is the inspiration for this recipe, she actually loves mayonnaise so much that I always make a triple recipe. So this is a triple recipe here. You'll get a large jar of mayonnaise, which is great. So John, could you hand me the bottle of olive oil down there? And I will actually use a bit of olive oil and a bit of this beautiful cold pressed dark green avocado oil as well. So thank you very much. That's wonderful. And so here we go. I'll put in about 50 grams of this. This is a really acidic oil, and it's worth tasting the oil first before you make your mayonnaise. That will really help you. So you'll know what the flavor is going to be like. And so I tend not to use too much of this oil, just enough to give it a little bit more color and some lovely flavor, and of course that beautiful nourishment. And I'll finish off with a little bit of olive oil just to top it up. You can use olive oil for your whole recipe if you want to, but it is quite a strong flavor, and a lot of people don't really find that appealing. So I tend to do avocado oil as my oil of choice here. So here we go, we've got our beautiful oil here, and I'm just going to set it here, and I'm going to put my other ingredients in. So let me show you what the ingredients are. 750 grams of avocado oil, 6 large egg yolks, 15 grams of Dijon mustard, a teaspoon, a level teaspoon of fine sea salt. You can use pink Himalayan salt if you want instead. A quarter teaspoon of freshly ground black or white pepper. And you could use 30 grams of cider vinegar and 60 grams of whey or kombucha, or you could use a coconut water whey, a coconut water fizz, something that is live and has probiotics. You could also use 30 grams of natural live yogurt, plain, plus 30 grams of water instead. But we'll get to that stage later. And what we're going to do now is just weigh in our ingredients, or add them actually. I've measured them out before. So we've got 6 egg yolks, so there they go. We've got our teaspoon of salt and our quarter teaspoon of freshly ground pepper, which I did just before we started. And we've got our Dijon mustard. It's about 2 heaped teaspoons. So if I show you, that is about, well, there's a heaped teaspoon. So we'll end up with about, we really like the mustardy flavor, so I'm doing 2 of these, and I've got 36 grams there. The recipe I think says, what does it say, 15 grams, but we really like it, so I've done a bit more. If you really like hot, spicy flavors, you can actually use English mustard, which is much more punchy, and so up to you what you choose. And here we go with our cider vinegar, which is going to give us a little bit of our sourness, which is lovely. And our cider vinegar is 30 grams. Oh, that's my homemade cider vinegar, and you can hear the fizz as the bottle opened, because it's live, definitely. 30 grams. Here we go. 32, that'll do nicely. Now, you may need to add more flavorings later, because I'll be teaching you how to taste your mayonnaise, but that's your good starting point there. So if you have a look on my website, cookwithjanie.com, you will see the recipe there. So I'm just going to set this now for 5 minutes, put the measuring cup on. And the measuring cup on a Thermomix is very cleverly designed so that it doesn't actually fit tightly. That allows steam to escape when it's cooking, or it allows liquids to drizzle in, like we're doing now with the oil. So I'm just going to turn the speed to speed 4, and over the course of 5 minutes, I'm going to drizzle in this oil. So start really slowly. It's a bit hard with a big jug full, but it's worth doing it very slowly. And I just sometimes pause. Around the 30-second mark, we'll probably start to hear it thickening up in there. Yeah, it's starting to sound not quite so liquidy now. So the important thing is to go slowly with your oil. It should take the whole 5 minutes to pour in this oil and let it gradually thicken. And that thickening process is called emulsification. So you've got some liquids in there with the cider vinegar, and you're mixing your egg yolks, the fats in the egg yolks and the fats in your really lovely olive oil and avocado oil. You're mixing those together so that they're perfectly mixed and emulsified and thick. If at any point, because this is one of the things that can fail, if at any point you hear it sounding like just liquid sloshing around, it is possible that the oil has gone in too quickly and it's not becoming thick. So if that is the case, if you suspect that's what's happening, then feel free to stop for a moment. So I'm just going to stop for a moment, press pause, and I'm going to peek and see what's happening in here. So we're down to 3 minutes 24 seconds left, and I can't quite show you this because, oh, John, do you have the mirror? Oh no, I won't bother right now. We didn't bring the mirror downstairs. We'll have to do that another time. That was a great invention. So, and then we could show you, but it is starting to thicken, which is great. So if you're not sure, you can always check, which is wonderful. So I'm just speeding up the oil pouring a tiny bit now. You can make half of this recipe, or you can make a third of it, or 2/3. And the times and the ingredient amounts are given on the recipe on my website. So if you're 1 or 2 people and you don't need this much mayo, and you're not making it for half the neighborhood like I am today, then you can do a smaller amount and do that really easily. I think you might even be able to hear that it's getting really lovely and thick, because it's sort of got a gloopy sound as it's mixing there. So now we're at 2.5 minutes, and we've got just less than half the oil left. And my arm is getting very tired because I'm holding up this jug of oil, but that's all right. It's worth it. Oh, now I can really hear that it's thick. So that's wonderful. Now I can speed up the oil a little bit more. Still just want it to drizzle in, and it's dripping in around the measuring cup there. So what happened to me the other day, when I did it with my 1 egg yolk instead of 2 for the 1/3 quantity, I ended up actually with just liquid sloshing around in here. And so what I had to do is I had to take it out, put it back into this jug, add another egg yolk, which fortunately solved the problem. Ah, that sounds really nice. Now, I've actually got the oil at the end. I've done that now. So what I can do is I can actually just check and see what's happening. And I've got my spatula here, and I can just show you what's happening here. So John, you can have a look and you can see I'm just dripping in the extra oil there. There we are. So there we are. You can see that lovely, nice, thick, beautiful mayonnaise and the oil still in the middle working its way into the mixture. And I've used the seedy Dijon mustard, so there's little lovely spots of mustard in here today. So I'm just going to mix this again a little bit longer because we have some time left. And I'll just help the oil on the lid work its way under the measuring cup here with my spatula. Because that oil is worth having. It is so delicious, and this mayonnaise is so good. So let's just see what's happened here. It's so thick, it's amazing. I can really hear the thickness. So here we go now. Let's just see if that extra oil in the middle has been taken up by the mixture. Not quite. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm just going to give it a stir, just in case there's a bubble underneath there. Ah, and it just popped. So that bubble underneath was just stopping the mayonnaise from being down near the blades. So John, do you want to show this now? Sorry. Poor Johnny's lifting the mirror up and down. It's a huge mirror. So here we go. The wind is really not on our side today. So this is what happens with Facebook Live. But anyway, let's finish off the mayonnaise while we sort out what is going on here. So speed 4. Right, you can take this, John. I think it's better not to have it.
Yeah, and your kippies are about to fall over.
All right, okay. Yep. Rightio. So the next step in this mayonnaise, and I'm sure that's done now, is to add, at this point, your mayonnaise will keep in the fridge for about 5 days, safely. Oh, and have you got a question, John?
Yes, Anne has asked, did you use the butterfly whisk?
I didn't actually. I find that at speed 4, it's absolutely perfect. And you can see how gorgeous and glossy and thick that is. So what I'm going to do now, you can use the butterfly whisk if you want to, but once I worked out that it was going to mix in perfectly and emulsify perfectly without it, I don't like washing up, so I didn't use the butterfly whisk anymore. So now what we're going to do is change our mayonnaise into a cultured mayonnaise to allow it to keep longer safely and to put it, to make it full of good probiotics. So here we are. Here I've got some apple and elderflower kefir, which is made with water kefir grains, and I've got some kefir whey from milk kefir. So you can vote as to which one you would like me to use today. So start sending in your comments and telling me which one you'd like me to use. And I could use half of each. If you're dairy-free, obviously a water kefir or kombucha is great. And if you're not dairy-free, then kefir whey or yogurt whey, or that mixture of half yogurt and half water is perfect. So, John, yes?
Yeah, Mariam says beautiful texture.
Yeah, it is wonderful.
And would you like to give them those 3 options again, Jenny?
The 3 options of...
So what they're voting on.
Oh, you're voting on what we're going to use to make this into a cultured mayonnaise now. So it's apple and elderflower kefir, which I've been drinking this morning as a drink, which is lovely, a sparkling drink. And here's the kefir whey. I could use whey from Greek yogurt. Those would both be dairy. And this apple and elderflower whey kefir is not dairy. So depends on what you're feeling in the mood for this morning. Both of them have lots of beautiful, good probiotics. And somebody's making a comment about bloopers, and boy, today has been full of bloopers, that's for sure. So any votes, John? Well, how are we doing on the voting?
No, the votes are being a bit slow, so we'll give them another 15 seconds and then you can make the decision.
Right, okay, so when you make mayonnaise, here is my best tip. Make sure you have extra eggs, because you may well need it if your mayonnaise goes all liquidy and sloppy like mine did last week. And I only luckily had 1 egg left, so I had 1 egg yolk. You can use whites if you want to, but they won't give as much flavor or nutrition to your mayonnaise. And while I'm waiting for the results to come in, I'll show you another trick, because I've got a jar to put my mayonnaise into, and the lid on this jar actually is great for getting your children used to changing the flavor of their mayonnaise if you've always bought mayonnaise and never made it before. So here it is. This is a bought mayonnaise jar, which I've taken the label off, but I've still got the lid. So when my children were younger and they didn't want to move to a homemade mayonnaise because they were really used to the flavor of the bought mayonnaise, then what I did was I put the mayonnaise lid on and sort of helped them transition. It took me quite a while, but they did get there and they all love it now. So John, where are we on the votes? What have we got? Oh, both, says Mario.
Yeah, we've had Philip has voted for the was it apple and elderflower?
Yeah.
So currently the elderflower is winning.
Okay, so let's do the apple and elderflower kefir.
I'm just wondering if we need to see that lovely texture again.
Okay, sure, yeah.
For those who
Let me show you this.
Yeah.
And take note of the color too. So you've got a beautiful color from the egg yolks here. So it's really lovely and yellow. And so what we're going to do now, by adding the kefir and blending it, you can hear that fizz, and you can even see the steam coming out from the sparkles. I'm actually just going to zero my scales again and add 60 grams. And then I'll drink the rest of it after this, because it's so delicious. So there we are, 62, that'll do nicely. And here we go. We're just going to blend this for 30 seconds at speed 6 to blend in those probiotics. Say goodbye to the scales and go back to the home screen. So 30 seconds and speed 6. So here we go. Lovely. Okay, there we are, all blended. And what I love about Thermomix is it is doing all the work for me, and I've done the tidying up, which is fabulous. And when you're cooking, it's really easy as well to do that. Right, so now you can see the difference in the color. So this makes your mayonnaise go a little bit whiter in color. So much less intense yellow, which means your children are much more likely to eat it. And if you don't want the little speckles of the Dijon mustard in there, then use a smooth Dijon mustard, because they can see that and they might not want to eat it, but we love it that way. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just pour it through a funnel, a jam funnel, into my jar. It's wonderful, and it will get even thicker as it cultures for the next 5 hours or so on my countertop, and then I'll put it in the fridge and it will get even thicker. So what I want to show you, as well as another tip, is one that got a lot of positive reaction on YouTube and Instagram when I did it a while back. I actually just took my lid. If you don't have a jam funnel, you can place your lid on top of your jar, and you can use the lid as your funnel because it has a hole, and you're aiming straight into that hole, and you've got a fabulous funnel built into your Thermomix, which is great. So as I said, I'm making this for several people in the neighborhood. And oh yeah, and John has pointed out, please only do this with cold items. So that's really important too. So now I'm just going to take that off. I've filled it right up to the top. So I'm just going to take a little scoop off the top, because when things culture, they get pretty lively, and sometimes they expand a bit with the little bubbles. So now I'm just going to wipe off the edge of this jar, and I'll put my lid on and label it and set it off to one side. It's a really warm day today, probably 25 degrees or something already, so it may only take 4 hours, and then once I've done that, then I will actually go and put it in the fridge. But one thing, forgot, you have to taste your mayonnaise at this point. So taste. Oh, that's delicious. No problem. If your mayonnaise just tastes really oily, you might want to add a teaspoon at a time, either some more apple cider vinegar or a teaspoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice. That can make all the difference to your mayonnaise, and it can also make a difference if you've got too little salt, so add a pinch. But taste your mayonnaise in the tea and bowl before you decant it into your jar, because it's a bit harder to mix it in once you've got it in the jar. So there we are today, your beautiful homemade mayonnaise, Marvellous mayonnaise, and you've got enough to share, enough to use for many, many recipes, and tomorrow we will be using it in Grandma's coleslaw, which is a famous coleslaw online, and it's on my website too. If you're allergic to eggs, or you're not eating them at the moment, then you can find egg-free mayonnaise recipes on Cookie Doo and elsewhere online by doing a Google search on egg-free mayonnaise Thermomix recipe. So thank you everyone for coming on. Please do go to my website, cookwithjanie.com, sign up for recipes, have a look through the recipes that are there already. There's lots of wonderful ones, and this one is called Laura's Mayonnaise. And thanks everyone for coming on, and everyone who will watch this in the future. Bye now.